Get your hands off that photo. You are nothing but a guest here." Ethan King heard those words the second he stepped inside his mansion, gift in hand, heart ready to heal. The voice was his wife's. The silence that followed was his adoptive mother's. And in one breath, the home he built felt like a stranger. Vanessa stood tall in the living room, dressed like she owned the air. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp and tired of pretending. Across from her stood Marlene, a black woman with silver hair and soft shoulders that had carried too much life. She held a small framed picture tight to her chest. The edges of the frame were worn, like it had been carried through rain in years. Her chin was lifted, her mouth closed. She was not begging, she was surviving. The room smelled of expensive candles and fresh flowers, yet the air felt cold enough to sting. Vanessa's words kept coming, each one neat and cruel.
Oh.
She spoke about rules, about respect,
Oh.
about how Marlene was always showing up without warning, always bringing old memories into a house that was supposed to look perfect. She said Marlene should learn her place. She said this was her home now, and guests follow the rules. Marlene did not fight back. She did not raise her voice. She had learned long ago that loud people often want a reaction more than they want the truth. She stood in silence, breathing slow, holding her pain inside like a locked room. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet and steady. She only came to see Ethan. She said she made soup, the kind he used to love. She said she did not want trouble. Her calm was not weakness, it was armor. Behind the doorway, Ethan felt the word soup move through him like a memory with teeth. Gift box in his hand suddenly felt small and useless. His chest went tight, not only from what he heard, but from what he had failed to see. He remembered the first place he ever called home, foster house that smelled of bleach, wet socks, and sadness. The air there was always loud. Kids cried. Doors slammed. Adults argued about money and time. Ethan learned to stay quiet. Quiet got you ignored. But it also kept you safe. Then Marlene walked into that place like a warm light. She did not smell fancy. She smelled like soap and clean clothes from a bathroom sink. Her hands were rough from work, but gentle from choice. She knelt down to his height and did not ask him to smile or perform. She simply said hello, said her name, and placed a small red toy truck beside him. She waited. That waiting was the first kindness he trusted. Life with Marlene was not rich in money. It was rich in care. Their apartment had peeling paint and a heater that coughed all winter. Some nights' dinner was eggs and toast. But the home smelled like onions frying slow, like lemon cleaner on Saturdays, like soup bubbling on the stove when she wanted him to feel safe inside. She worked days cleaning rooms at a clinic and nights pouring coffee at a diner. She came home tired, but her love never came home empty. She taught him to read with library books and patience. She tied his shoes, patched his shirts, and listened to him, even when he had nothing to say. When kids teased him for being adopted, she sat him by the window and told him a line he never forgot. Family is who stays when it hurts. You are worth staying for. She said it like a fact, not a wish. When he got a scholarship to college, she cried into her dish towel and told him to take up all the space he earned. When his first business failed and he came home broke, she did not ask what he did wrong. She told him to eat first, then talk. When the next business rose fast and turned him into a billionaire, she stayed the same. Old cardigan, bus ride, soup in a pot. The world changed around her. She did not. Vanessa came into Ethan's life later. Bright and polished, the kind of woman who could walk into a room of power and never blink. She helped Ethan fit into places that once made him feel small. He thought that was love. He thought her confidence would protect what he had built, but slowly. When Ethan wasn't watching, Vanessa began pushing Marlene to the edges. She stopped saying mom. She started saying your mother. She moved Marlene's chair away from the sunny corner because it did not match the room. She asked staff to guide Marlene through side doors when guests were over. Ethan noticed pieces of it, but he was always busy, always traveling, always promising he would handle it soon. Soon had arrived. In the worst way, Ethan stepped into the living room. The floor barely creaked. but the air changed fast. Vanessa turned, startled, then forced a smile. Marlene turned slower, and for a split second her eyes showed relief before she covered it with calm. Ethan did not look at Vanessa first. He looked at Marlene. His voice came out low, steady, full of something older than anger. "Mom," he said, the word like shelter. Vanessa's smile twitched at it. He asked Vanessa how long this had been going on. Vanessa tried to brush it off, blaming stress, blaming Marlene for not understanding boundaries. She said she was simply protecting their home from chaos. Then she said the one thing she believed would end the matter. She said Marlene was not his real mother. The room went quiet enough to hear. The old clock in the corner ticking like a heartbeat. Marlene's jaw tightened for a breath. She looked down, not because she believed the lie, but because she refused to feed it. Her silence held a lesson Ethan had learned from her years ago. You do not need to raise your voice to raise your worth. Ethan did not shout. His calm was heavier than thunder. He told Vanessa. She does not get to decide what is real in his life. Told her every good thing he became came from Marlene's hands and her patience. He said he built a fortune, but she built the man who could build it. The truth does not shake when it stands on love. He turned to Marlene and apologized. Not for her visit, not for the soup, but for being blind too long. Marlene tried to soften it, as she always did, saying he had a lot on his shoulders. Ethan shook his head, said she carried him first when no one else would. And now it was his turn. Then he placed a slim folder on the coffee table beside the old photo. Vanessa stared at it like it was a threat. Ethan told her what it was, a transfer. The house was now in Marlene's name, effective today.
It is
Not out of pity. Out of truth, Marlene gasped, her hands lifting to her mouth, eyes filling fast. She shook her head, overwhelmed. She said she did not need that. Ethan answered with a line that would stay with her forever. Never asked for anything, and that is why you deserve everything, Vanessa. Stepped back, anger rising like a wave. She accused Ethan of humiliating her. Ethan did not move. He gave her a calm answer that ended the fight before it could start. You can be offended, but you cannot be cruel in my home, he told her to pack tonight. One car would take her wherever she wanted. Another would bring her things tomorrow. The words were not loud, but they were final. Vanessa searched the room for support, for a way to twist the moment back into her control. There was none. Quiet. Honor does not argue, it simply stands. She realized she had lost to something she could not fight. She walked out without another word. When the door closed, the mansion felt like it could breathe again. Marlene's shoulders shook, not from fear, but from release. Ethan hugged her slowly, carefully, like he was holding his whole past in his arms. He told her he was here. He told her he would never let someone shrink her again, Marlene whispered. She never wanted to be a problem, Ethan answered with a soft force that settled the room. You were never the problem. You were the reason I survived. Later in the kitchen, Ethan warmed the soup. The smell filled the space the way it did when he was small, safe, and loved. They ate together at the table while the city lights glittered outside. The old chair returned to its place by the sunlit corner, as if the house itself was honoring her. That night, Ethan learned what Marlene had always known. Power is not loud. Love is not a performance. Dignity does not beg for a seat. It waits unbroken until the truth catches up. If this story moved you, comment where you are watching from. Share a time you saw quiet strength win. For more stories that honor the silent heroes who hold up the world without asking for applause,